Hi, in this video, what we're going to do is we're going to use VBA to open up a form inside of Access. So let's go ahead and start up an Access database. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to look up this desktop how to calculate age. So if you go into the search and then you put how to, so if you put how to calculate age in there, then you'll find this desktop how to calculate age. And the reason why I'm using this is because it already has data in there. I don't have to worry about making the forms. But if you already have your own forms, you can do the exact same thing that I'm doing here. So right now I have this how to calculate age, and over here I have my forms, I have my tables, I have my reports, and I have my macros, and I have my modules. Now in this video I'm expecting you to already have a little bit of an understanding of Access. This is not an intro to Access. This is actually an intro maybe to VB and Access. So VBA, sorry. So VBA is Visual Basic for Application. It's the coding language that works with Microsoft products on the back end, and it allows you to manipulate or to control the products that Microsoft creates in a way that maybe Microsoft didn't intend or didn't anticipate. So you can make things maybe calculate age in a particular way that you want to do it based off of a program that you write on the back end. And that's basically what VBA does. It gives you more power to articulate what you want the application to do, and in conjunction with other Office applications. So let's go ahead and look at how we can start ourselves a VBA procedure. I have other videos out there that actually does VBA with Word, VBA with PowerPoint to create games, and I'll be putting more up there for VBA with Excel. But basically the process is the same, except in Access you don't have to go to the ribbon and then open up the developers tab like you have to do in the other ones. On this one, when you go to the database tab, you already have access to the Visual Basic for Applications code behind by clicking on this button right here. So if I were to click on that button, you'll see I already get this window open, and that's normal with Access. So this is where I'll be writing all my code. Right now, because I opened up this template, I have this module here with this base age here. Yours won't have this in here. So you'll have it blank. And when you want to create a module, all you need to do is right click on here, insert, and then you can insert a module. That's one way. The other way is you can go up here and then you can go to class module or module. Right now we always want a module because that's shared with everything, so it doesn't necessarily be a class module. So if I click on this module, it'll give me this blank sheet here, and it'll always start in Access saying option compare database. That allows the VBA to be able to have a memory of what the database was before it was closed. So that actually helps us out. So let's look at what we can do here. I want to be able to use VBA to create a button that will transfer from or open up a form, let's say. So I'm going to create a button that opens up a form. So as with anything inside of VBA, it has to be inside of a procedure, and that procedure needs a name. So normally when you create a procedure, you'll do something like sub, and you'll give it a name. Now, if you want this thing not to be seen by anything, you will put something like private at the beginning of this sub. But we actually want this to be seen and to be used. So we'll just start it off with sub, and then we'll give it a name, and we'll say open form. And then inside of these parentheses here, we're going to put these parentheses first. We're not going to put anything inside, but then we're going to click on the enter key, and it'll automatically write this in sub for us. So now this is where we can put stuff that we want the program to do, right in between these two declarations. So I'm going to use a command that comes with Access, and that's called the do command, CMD. When I type that, I want to access information that the do command has. When I type do command, it gives me control over the classes that do command has. So I don't want to go into too much depth with that, but the name itself gives me access to all these things I'm able to do to forms and to tables and that sort of stuff. So if I type do command and then I type dot open, I'll get this list of things that actually starts with dot open. And I have this one here that says dot open form. So I'm going to use my arrow key and scroll down and then click the enter key. And it'll put that there, but it'll go to the next line, which I don't want. I want to go back here and I'm going to then make a space. And when I make that space, I get this tooltip here that says, hey, you need a form name and then all this other stuff. So let's go ahead and put the form name inside of parentheses and then, I'm sorry, quotes. And then I'm going to go over here and look at these form names. And I see I have a form contact list. So I can go ahead and type that in here. So I type contact list in there. And then after that, I'm going to put a comma. Now it's asking me, how do you want to open this form? Do you want to open in layout view, normal view, preview? So if I don't put this comma here and don't put anything in there, it'll automatically open up in normal view. But what we want, I'm going to put the comma there again, and it's going to open up this list here. I'm going to use the arrow key to go all the way down because I wanted to open up in preview. But this time, instead of hitting the enter key, I'm going to hit the tab. And as you can see, it puts that there without putting me down to the next line. Now, if I hit this comma again, I get this filter name that needs to be filled. And so let's say if I were to do this and I have no filter, and filter is basically a query. And over here, I can see I have a query, contacts extended, and I would put that here if I were going to use it, but I'm not. So I'm going to hit the comma again. Here's another where SQL statement that I can use. I'm going to hit comma for passing that up. And then I have the way this form can be edited, and I'm going to put read only. And that time I just double click the one that I wanted instead of tab or enter, and I hit the comma, and then it's saying here as far as how the window dialog would look. So for this one, again, when we type the comma, I can go ahead and choose what kind of window, like the dialog that we talked about, that we want this to open up in. We want it to be a dialog box, let's say, or we want it to be hidden, meaning the window is open and you can't access it, but it's still, I mean, you can access it, but you just can't see it. Or an icon or normal window. I'm going to put normal window here. And then if I hit the comma again, I can use these open arguments, but we're not doing that. So I'm not going to put that comma there. So now this is done. I'm going to hit save, Control S to save, or I can go up here, file, or I can hit this to save. File, and then save. You can do it that way, or just hit this button here. Now, when I do that, it's asked me, hey, you want to save this module because you really didn't save this module over here. And I'm just save it as module 1 and hit OK. And then you'll look down here and you'll see under the modules tab that I have module 1 down here. Now, when I come over here, I can actually go inside of my form. So let me go to create, and I'm going to create a form. And I'm creating this form of the contact list, and the reason why, because contact list was open. But let me go ahead and close the contact list. I didn't really want a form of the contact list. I don't want to save that. So I'm now going to go to create, and I'm going to create a blank form. With this blank form, I'm going to go ahead and add myself a button here. Now with this button selected, I don't want any of this, so I'm going to cancel that. And then once I cancel it, I'll have this button sitting here. I can go into design view with this. Right now, I'm not necessarily in design view. I'm not in design view. So I can actually go over here to the views and go to the layout view, which this is. And the design view is down here, which allows me to design this form, to change it up a little bit. And then once I'm done with that, I can go right back by going to the design tab, going right back to the form view, which I had before. Now with this button here, I can right click on this and I can go to either views that I wanted. On the other hand, when I'm inside of the design view, where am I? Let me go back here, design view, and then I right click on it, I'm able to go to the build events, which is what I want here. So you got to remember, it depends on which view you're in. So when I'm here and I'm in this layout view, let's say, I right click. And then when I go here, when I'm in the form view and I right click, I won't see the same thing. So you got to remember, you have to either be in the layout view and I right click. You can see it there. I can go to the design view. Now I'm right clicking on here to go to those views instead of going up here. When I'm inside of this view here, which is the design view, I can right click and I'll have my build events. When I'm inside of the form view and I right click, I do not have those build events because this is the view that when you use the form. Right now, I'm clicking on this button and nothing's happening because nothing's attached to it. So finally, when I go to the layout view, the same thing. I can right click and then I have the build events here because it needs me to be in the design view to actually add the code builder here. So I'm going to go here, go to design view, right click, events, code builder. Okay. And now it opens up here and it gives me this command 0 click. Now you notice what it did here. It opened up a whole new like form or database here. It opened up this database form 1. And in order for me to get this to work inside of here, all I need to do is type open form. And so this right here will access what we wrote earlier. All I need to do is save this. I'm going to save this form. And so now when I go right back to my view, let me go back to the form view, and I click on this, you'll notice now it opened up that table that we said to open up in here, the contact list table, and it opened it up in the preview mode. And that's how we can create a button using VBA to open up a form or a table or anything like that. We can use the same thing to open up a table. We can use it to manipulate a table. So again, let's try this one more time. I'm going to go inside this module again. And I'm going to create another sub open start screen. And the reason why I'm doing that, because I have the startup screen form here. That's the only reason why I'm doing that. And so I'm calling it that. You could call it anything. Then I click enter. And I'm going to use this same thing over here to open that up. And then I'm going to go ahead and put the name of this here inside of here. You got to make sure that it's the same, okay? So inside of this, maybe I don't want to open this in preview mode. I'm going to tab back. And maybe I just want to open this in normal mode. So if I put that normal in here. Okay, so now I'm going to save this. Now I'm going to go back here. I'm going to close this form here. And I want to add another button here. So I'm going to go right click. I'm going to go to design view. And inside design view, I'm going to add myself another button. When I add this button, this is going to pop up. I don't really want this, so I'm going to cancel that. And I want to actually change the name of this button. So if I move this over here, and I show my VBA area over here. So I'm going to move this over. I'm going to select this button, and then you will see the name up here. Now this name is a programming name here, but I actually want the name of the caption here. And I'm going to say open startup. And when I do that, you'll see it pop up here. I'm going to do the same thing for here. I'm going to go to the caption, and I'm going to say open contacts. All right, so now I have myself an open contacts and an open startup button. Inside the startup button, I'm going to right click and I'm going to go build events. And then I'm going to go code builder and click OK. And then you'll see it wrote this part for me. Now, if I would have changed the name of this button before I did that up here, then you would have seen this name here changed. This name is the code name, which is up here. You can see the code name up here. When I select on this one, you can see the code name is here. This is one of the ways it connects this code to the button. So inside of here, I want to go ahead and call the one that I just made called Open Start Screen. So I'm going to put that inside of this new button that I just created, the Open Start Screen here. Then I'm going to hit Save. And I'm going to go back here and right-click. I'm sorry, not right-click. I'm going to go back here and go right back to the form view. All right. So now that I'm in the form view, I can hit Open Start Screen. And there you have it. The start screen opens. I can even go back here and open the contacts. So you see I have this area here where I'm using VBA to open up all my forms instead of coming over here. And the reason why this is important, because you may have a user, you may lock your database to where the users cannot access the forms this way. When you send it out, they must access it through the interface that you create. And the best way to create a user-friendly interface is being able to have the versatility of using VBA. Hopefully this was helpful. If you have any questions, leave them in the comment section below. Make sure you subscribe and make sure you share this video. I see you guys next time. Bye.